From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday here on LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we're going to go over that monthly stimulus check and why you're likely to get more months of checks from the Democrats. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. The recon is giving you $3.5 trillion of checks coming to the American people. Bernie Sanders calls this a historic day for the American people. I'll be going over some of those checks. It's checks for everyone, including seniors and workers. It's coming up in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the vote, the bills, the dates. The recon is going first. Confirmation from Schumer, Pelosi, the president, and also Jalopal are detailed in this video, as the recon is going to the finish line first, followed by the bipartisan, that's a tongue twister, and both of them are getting done by the August recess. It's in the final 15 minutes of this video, all the breaking details in the final 15, stay at the very end. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. A lot of money across the board. And then we cut to the big money. Viewers are getting $32,000 from this channel. I'm going to show you how to get this big money as well. It's all available for you, and it's a big night, and it's a big day, and it's a big morning across the board. As stimulus is heating up, have all the details live with you on air, direct from Santa Monica at noontime, starting right now. Hey, good noontime, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a beautiful day. Hope your day is just wonderful. It's gorgeous weather here in Southern California at the beach here in Santa Monica, California. It's beautiful. Onshore breeze, sunny, not hot. We've had beautiful paradise weather for the last 4 days, so don't screw it up. I just expect it to go badly. But at the moment, I'm just loving it. Let's see how many more days we can get out of it. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how is the weather where you are. In this fourth stimulus check update 2021, a lot of breaking news. I told you there would be breaking news all weekend long and all this coming week. You don't want to miss a single video across the board because there is so much breaking news by the hour. In this recording, we're going to go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we got to the recon. This is money for you, all parts of the American landscape. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. Deal done. I'll go over this incredible recon. This is not the children's check. That was third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. $3.5 trillion of checks detailed in this video. And then we cut to the bills, the vote, and everything that's happening this coming week. A lot of developing details, but the recon is going first. Yes. And both of them are going to be done by the August recess. Yes, is the promise from Leader Schumer. I have all the details later in the final 15 minutes of this video. And then we cut to fifth stimulus across the board, which raises your benefits up across the board. And then we have this. Nancy getting $32,000 for this channel, Mark $32,000, and Nisi 23. I'll show you how to get this big money as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America, live in the morning like right now and taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is afternoon's LALATE throwback show at 1 o'clock. This video will take you automatically there when this is over. And then the new afternoon's LALATE broadcast today at 3, and then evening's LALATE at 5. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for last week being one of our biggest weeks of subscriber growth in recent days. Thank you for also tuning in all weekend long and all last week, because I told you this weekend and next week are going to be a lot of breaking news by the hour. You don't want to miss anything, and I'm not going to go back over some stuff because there's too much stuff. You won't be caught up if you miss a recording, so stay with me throughout the day. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that. Monthly stimulus check starting right now. House bill, Senate proposal, both monthly, but the number of checks is really the big difference. House bill provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. Senate proposal provides a stimulus check to July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. Senate amount, monthly unknown. But word on the street is it's this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Pandemic plus 1 year, House per bill, well, The pandemic is not over. And with the pandemic not over, it's likely now the full extent of the House bill would be used. Pandemic plus 1 year, which would pay more than 12 checks, which would pay for that house more than 12 months, which would pay for that house more than $13,000. Compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather at noontime where you are. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that. If you got a third, you get a fourth. Single individual, $75,000 or less, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, and VA. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check is the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check. It's a monthly check. I learned my lesson wrongly about that over the weekend. I was invited to Senator Portman's pork belly roast. Walked in, smelled delicious. Remember, Senator Portman is working on the infrastructure, the roads and bridges. He's also the guy that cut off your unemployment benefits last year, saying, get back to work, you're too lazy. So I walked in. I got the pork belly sandwich, and it wasn't worked enough on. It was raw. So I walked up to Senator Portman. I said, hello, Senator Portman. Hello, LA. How are you? Thank you for coming. I recognize you from your purple shirts. I said, hi, how are you? I didn't want to wave at you from afar. I know that's sort of rude. Yes, I'm not a waivable check. Yeah, I said, but Senator Portman, your sandwich is half done. You need to get back to work and stop being so lazy. Work more on your sandwiches. Get out of here, LA. I didn't extend his unemployment benefits either. And there you go. In the second half of this video, we'll go over the recon. $3.5 trillion of checks. Done. Deal. Coming to you. These $3.5 trillion of checks are the recon. It's a historic day for the American people, says Bernie Sanders. This is all checks. These are all checks for you. 3.5 trillion of them. I'm going to go over that in the second half of this video. Congratulations. And then we cut to the voting process. Fireworks, dramatics, and everything and more. But we have the great confirmation from the president, Jalapa, Schumer, Pelosi, and even the president himself. The recon will go for a vote first, yes. And the bipartisan follows afterwards, yes. And Schumer confirms both paths will be done by the August recess. Oh boy, it's coming up in the third part of this video. Also coming up later in this video is the deliciousness of this stimulus. It raises your benefits up a lifetime. I have all the details about that as well. But first, let's get some money and let's go to this. I have been reporting over 4 or 5 weeks ago that for rent on this channel, I can get you rent, utilities, SNAP, internet. So get a pen and paper ready because I'm going to get you some money right now. I'm going to get you some rent, utilities, internet, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. And it starts right with this. Yes, I was reporting that I can get you $5,000 of rent, 4 to 6 months of rent. Look what happened. Overnight, Elizabeth from this channel got $27,000 from rent. Mark got $25,000 of rent from this channel. Nancy, $24,000. Richard got $22,000 for rent. And Nisi, under the graphic overlay, got $20,000 for rent. Purple power is on fire. For utilities, I said I can get you $300 for utilities. Then viewers started to get $3,000 for utilities. Let's see what happened. Wow. Nancy got $7,000 for utilities this week. Mark got $6,500 for utilities. And Angela, $5,000 for utilities. When I talked about SNAP, I said, well, some viewers are getting $5,000 to $6,000 from this channel for SNAP. Let's see what happened with that. OMG. Louis got $18,000 for SNAP, John $10,000, and Nancy $5,000. And finally, Art Sullivan got 3 items for this channel. He inspired Nisi, and Nisi inspired others. Let's see what the Triple Crown winners have gotten. Oh my goodness. Nancy has gotten $32,000 for this channel. Mark with 2 items, not even 3, got $32,000, and Nisi with 3 got $23,000. Get that pen and paper ready because it's your day to get this big money as well. This is what this channel does. It cashes checks, not track checks. In April of last year, the EIDL loan and EIDL grants was supposed to come to you in 3 days. No reason to pull out a calendar because it didn't come in 3 days. But I stepped in with no check to track, and I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loan checks to cash. Then involves 2020. Second stimulus checks were not coming. No check to track again, but I got viewers $250,000 of checks to cash. Like Tyrone, his family of 4 out of Boston got $15,000 for rent in December from this channel, paid all his rent to the spring. And now we're doing it again. The only difference is you. These numbers are astronomical. So get that pen and paper ready. I'm going to get this money for you starting right now. We get some rent, utilities, homeowners mortgage assistance, and utilities as well. We're going to reach out to different places with different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. Also listen for the key words. Viewers tell me the keywords are critical. Are you ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Ron Portman's fan club. They don't know that because it doesn't exist. And there you go. Congratulations also to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money. If you got money for rent, post in live chat or utilities as well. Let's turn to that Snap right now. Snap is a fortune, and you saw those numbers for Snap. They are just incredible. $18,000 for Louis, $10,000, and $5,000 for Snap for Nancy. Lynn Glenn got this as well for her son, her mom, and herself. And Gail got it. What is Snap? Snap is money for food. You get it from Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year now. Wow, why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And we're killing it. $25,000 for rent, $18,000 for Snap, $8,000 for utilities, $33,000 for multiple items for some viewers, and we're just getting started. We're at the 12-minute mark, and the next pot of the money is the refund check coming back from your states due to overpayment and a computer error. And not your computer, their computer. The federal government has ordered that money returned back to you. One viewer got $5,000, another viewer got $3,000. Where's the landing? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yes, contact your state and say, hey, state, can you track that check due to overpayment of unemployment with a computer error? And this time, can you track it with a computer that actually has a keyboard? Plug in the keyboard this time, it works. And finally, the refund check coming back from IRS for that 2020 tax return you paid taxes on. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it, and guess what? There's another wave of checks coming. It's a waivable check. Don't tell Mitch, he'll be very upset. This waivable check got an update from IRS, and the latest wave, the average payout is $1,265. Ooh, deliciousness. Direct deposit started July 14th, and the paper check started July 16th. There's a new wave every week this summer. Before I continue, if you haven't posted your success stories in the live chat, please do. Because when you do, you help other viewers. That's the spirit of this channel. People helping people, a loving community. And when you post your success stories in the live chat, whether it's $100 or $1, you really help other people. 3 different ways. Number 1, when they see the numbers coming from you live in the chat and also see my graphics on air, then they realize, wait a second, let me go get this money. Why am I not getting this money? This is money for me. It was dedicated for me under third stimulus. I should go get this money. Number 2, when you see Art Sullivan get 3 items, or Nancy or Nisi getting 3 items, then you realize, wait a second, I only got 2. Like Mark got 30,000 with 2 items. So Mark, you can go get another item. You can go get that Snap as well. Bring it up to 40,000. It inspires you to get all 3 items, and then it updates us about the money. So make sure you post in live chat. You'll help someone else by inspiring them with your successes. Let's cut back to that IRS refund check. So where would land direct deposit otherwise in the mail? When? This month? And how much? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits, of which you paid $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. And can you track it? Yeah. Go to irs.gov, do a transcript search, and 70% of the time it'll work. It'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. And then reveal some stuff you never knew. I mean, stuff that I was even surprised to learn. Like when Ron Portman was on Star Search, did he do the rollerblade thing he does at Mitch's Lobster Fest for his talent competition? or does he really have any talent? And finally, in reveal, the refund check came back for my arrest. Does he have a talent otherwise than saying no? Yeah, saying no is a talent. You know, it's really a good talent. And it will reveal the refund check coming back to you. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part of your forced stimulus check update of 2021, starting right now. Done. Deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people in the forced stimulus recon. This forced stimulus recon is a historic day for the American people, says Bernie Sanders. These are checks, all checks for the American people. If you're a naysayer or a troll or a negative person who relished on saying for months, there's nothing coming to the American people, it's all roads and bridges. Then when we realized roads and bridges is not our bill, it's something else, and we talked about recon, and then that troll came back and said, there's no money for you. Well, guess what, Karen? There's $3.5 trillion of checks in the forced stimulus recon. And if you don't want any, we're starting a list. I'm going to put people's names on the list that don't want the money so we can have it for ourselves. Let's cut to the deliciousness of how this happened. Originally, the recon had roads and bridges in there, and those roads and bridges in there made it too big for the Democrats to pass by July 4th. So they took the roads and bridges out of the recon and put it into something called the bipartisan. And now that shrunk the recon and made both the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, and our money, the recon, passable. The confirmation comes from conservative publication even before the price tag of $3.5 trillion was agreed upon. The higher the price tag was on the recon originally, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon and put it into the bipartisan roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan made the recon passable. There you go. And ironically, they both made each other passable. The bipartisan has now become passable, and the recon has become passable. The bipartisan has gone 3 votes, 2 of which are passable, and the recon group, 50 of 50 Democrats have met in caucus and agreed to pass it. That's coming up later in this video. When they shrunk that recon, the progressives were able to put more money back in there and bring it up to a price tag they like, and that price tag, $3.5 trillion. The progressives met, and the Democratic senators met about a week ago and agreed upon the price tag of $3.5 trillion, everything that they wanted. And that's what Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Minnesota, progressive, had said, that we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon, $3.5 trillion, congratulations. And then Representative Richie Torres said we have to have a larger recon. You got it, Richie, $3.5 trillion. The Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure the recon went big enough. They got it, $3.5 trillion. How do they do this? By protecting the recon. Why? Because the recon is just checks for you. Progressive policies, 100%. And the White House had told them, protect it. Brian Schatz and Jalopal, both Democrats, both progressives, confirmed, quote, the White House has said the progressive priorities in the recon are the White House's priorities. So what is a recon? What is a bipartisan? What is the difference between these words? How does a recon get passed, and how does it become a law? Let's go over all the details starting right now. On this channel, I only use 2 words, recon, our money, and bipartisan, the roads and bridges. That's easy. But here's what's going on elsewhere off this channel. Broadcast media is doing an F+ on reporting. What are they doing? They're often switching the terms to refer to the other one incorrectly, or they're using the word infrastructure to refer to everything, which is obviously not the correct terminology either. And if that's not confusing enough, then they're adding other words, like they got the first words to they didn't understand the first word, so they're adding more words. Yeah, let's just confuse everyone, so then they'll think that we know more. So that will just, they'll just they'll just have to pop Advil all day long. Let's go over the word terminology starting right now. Your money, of course, is recon, and roads and bridges is bipartisan. That's so simple, easy to follow, and it's easy how I do on this channel. I just use 2 words, recon, your money, bipartisan, the roads and bridges. But I need to tell you the other words in case you see these other words, because guess what? 80% of the time when I turn on broadcast media, they're butchering it. They're making a mess of it. So I want you to be able to understand or recognize when someone is making a mess of the story on broadcast media. Recon is also called reconciliation. It's also called the budget bill. Price tag, $3.5 trillion. People that will be quoting an article about it, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Nancy Jalopal. Bipartisan, also called roads and bridges, not your money. Also called infrastructure. Price tag smaller, less than 1.5 trillion. People quoting an article about this, a Ron Portman, Kristen Sinema, Mitt Romney. Okay, that's easy breezy. Who writes a recon? The Democrats write the recon for the Democrats to pass for the Democrats. Who actually does the writing of it? Not a lot of people. Just a few people in what's called House subcommittees. And they're helped with the Senate subcommittees. They're all Democrats. Under the Constitution, House subcommittees are delegated different subject matters. So, for example, the House Ways and Means Subcommittee is responsible for writing stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. When each of those subcommittees are done, let's say there's 10 of them, and they finish what they're writing, let's say it's 10 pages, they combine them, send them up to Chuck, 100 pages. He puts a big ass on it for Laverne and Shirley, sugar-coated, salty, seductive, Schumerish, no, for Senate, and that is your recon. Before that, we don't have a bill, but we do have an emoji. Not bill yet. And that's important because when they're writing the recon, the Democrats don't have to show us what they're writing, how they're writing, what they're voting or taking in. There's no constitutional requirement for transparency. When the bill is debuted with that S, then we have a bill, but we also have another emoji. Not a law yet. Because guess what? Later in this video, I'm going to explain to you that the Democrats are still ready to modify that bill when it debuts. But for the now, at the moment, we don't have the reconciliation bill. And so broadcast media and myself agree upon one subject matter. We don't have it, hence we don't see it. It's sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album, doesn't want you to hear the songs on the album until it's released. Pretty easy. But along the way, there's people. Even I saw them this morning on Mornings LA. I deleted the comments where they said, I haven't heard of this in the recon. Guess why you haven't heard it? Because the bill hasn't debuted yet. Can we top that? We can. As Jalapal recently wrote Chuck a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote on the recon. Well, he is. More about that's coming up later in this video. That recon is, that letter about the recon was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of 100 plus, yes, 100, who had written the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Whoa, can we top that? We can. As 7 members of that House Ways and Means Subcommittee, the one you just talked about, yep, that one, recently wrote the president a letter and said, we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks into the forced stimulus package. Yes. Now, Purple Power, you got to keep push, and get these people to keep their promise, because this is a wonderful promise. Monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package is what those House Ways and Means Subcommittee members promise. They also promise a fifth stimulus check earlier next year. More about that in a second. Can we top that? We can. As Biden did it. He went overseas 6 weeks ago and had a ceremonial signature, but that ceremonial signature finished with an actual signature just a few days ago. It's the confusing thing called the Global Minimum Corporate Tax Rate Minimum. Oh, I'm exhausted just saying that. Why is this great news? Because it's exhausting, and it doesn't have to go into forced stimulus, which makes forced stimulus less exhausting. Number one, easier to write the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to call the vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. And easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Can we top that? We can. In the final 15 minutes of this video, we'll go over the next 7 days. The final 15 of the 7 goes over all the exciting details as Schumer, President Trump, Schumer, President Biden, Nancy, Jalapal, and everyone else is now saying recon goes for a vote first, bipartisan second. Moreover, bipartisan does not go by itself and we go home with no recon pass. In fact, Schumer says both done by the August recess. Yes. And then I'll go over the voting process and everything you need to know. I'll also go over what the Republicans are trying to do and not try to do. And I'll go over what bill is set for a vote on Monday. It's heating up across the board. Then we cut to fifth stimulus as well. Is there something more wonderful than that? Yes, the volunteers. If you need help with that rent, utilities, food, or internet, you've tried to find it and you can't find it, jump into the community page. How do you find it? Open the description of this video, see an emoji of a house. Click the link, it sends you over to the community page. It's news.lalate.com/community. And there you'll see the volunteers separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them and they'll help you get that big money. And I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with the final 15 of the final 7 at noon time. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues. And the excitement continues right now on Noontime LA, direct from Santa Monica on a big noontime broadcast. The final 15 of the final 7 will be jam-packed with breaking news, as the recon is going to vote first before the bipartisan, but both are heating up. Both pass will be finished by the August recess. Chuck Schumer reports of all the breaking news in the final 15 minutes of this video. Then we cut to fifth stimulus as well, which raise your benefits up a lifetime. All these details and more coming up, but first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. Coming up next this afternoon is Afternoons LA throwback video at 1 o'clock. This video will automatically take you there when this is done. Then at 3 o'clock is the brand new Afternoons LA taped minutes ago, followed by Evenings LA new this afternoon as well. And then we can have sirloin tonight at 8 o'clock. So subscribe, like this video, and let's get right into what the president did and didn't do with this stimulus. During the campaign trail, the president promised the American people that he was going to raise your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. He repeated the promise during the transition papers. Again, he didn't do it. So what's happening? Well, your Democratic senators and Democratic House members are taking care of it for you. This is the SSI reform, and this is fifth stimulus. When is this? This is September, starts legislating, and the draft of it and the final vote of it would then happen around in October, November. The benefit list would happen in November, and then they'd apply the benchmark in December. This is fifth stimulus, and what is involved? What the president promised you. First, raising your benefits up. Then, removing the asset limit, adding an inflationary benchmark, removing the marriage penalty, and removing the income exclusion. Let's get to all the deliciousness starting right now. First, who's going to get benefits? You! If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries, your benefits will be raised up one big time. Step number 1, that is a lifetime raise. Then step 2, they'll apply a new benchmark. When? The new benchmark will likely be applied in December for next year's benefits. What's the benchmark? Inflation. Where is inflation going? It's going to be transitory. What does transitory mean? It's a fancy word said by Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, which basically means a temporary spike. When is that temporary spike? In December. Yes, right when they apply our benchmark. It's wonderful news. So how high is that benchmark going to go? I've been reporting for a while now. Some people on Wall Street are confirming the same. 5% temporary spike in December. Oh boy. Let's go over the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll apply the benchmark. If it's 5%, then your benefits will step up another 5%. Lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. So if the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, you'll be at +2, +5%. It's wonderful news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. Now you have room to have some Crayola crowns in some muddled. Did you say muddled? This is not muddled. This is beautiful STL Cardinal Red. Sorry, Canute. Some muddled, no, STL Cardinal Red Crayola crowns in your hand, and some stimulus checks. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to end, and you'll be able to do a pair dance at the marriage ceremony. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear loss of benefits. And if you've been married and lost your benefits, they'll be restored. That's fifth stimulus. Will there be a fifth stimulus check? There will. The Democrats in that House Ways and Means Committee represent there will be one next year. That will not overlap with the fourth. And finally, if you're in the live chat and you notice people would have a purple hawk emoji next to their name, hawk, and you don't have one, you need to. Why are people able to get these enormous sums of money? Because they're purple hawks. Daily, I deliver to them a breakdown of all the big money that is in these stimulus packages. Third stimulus, and it's not automatic. It's not like you sit back and $7,000 lands in your hand or $32,000 lands in your hand. You have to apply. Knowledge is king, and you need to know that this money is available for you. And daily, I deliver from the YouTube community page a breakdown of all this money for you to get when you're a member. The link is under the chat and under the video. For example, when second stimulus passed, it was a $600 stimulus check last year. But I said, I'm going to get you $6,000. I got Tyrone $15,000 of rent for his family 4 out of Boston. And when third stimulus passed earlier this year, it was a $1,400 stimulus check. You remember what I said at the time. I said, I'm going to get you $14,000. You just saw the graphic. I've been getting I've gotten 2 viewers over 30,000 and Nisi 23,000. So there you go. Consider becoming a member. And with that, let's go into the final 15 of the final 7, starting right now with the exciting details of what's happened over the next 7 days of your fourth stimulus in these final 15 minutes, starting right now. Deal done. Recon, $3.5 trillion of checks accompanying the American people. These are checks. The Democrats met over a week ago. Democratic senators, 50 of 50, and agreed their passing of the recon at a price tag of $3.5 trillion. Bernie Sanders called this a historic day for the American people because suddenly you're going to get all the checks you've always desired. These are checks for all different walks of life. He wanted $7 trillion. He agreed upon 3.5 and celebrated. Why? He said all his programs got paid at 100%, just short a period of time. Likely 50% of the time, because 3.5 is half of 7. So what are these recon items? They're checks for all of you of all different walks of life. And certainly, after it becomes law, I'll ensure that I get you this money, just like I got all these viewers $30,000 and $20,000 from third stimulus. Here are some of the items that are part of those checks in the recon. Checks for free school meals for all, checks for tax breaks, checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for immigration reforms, checks for farming, checks for elections, checks for free internet. There's going to be free internet offered nationally where the government pays money to the cities so they can have their own internet company and give it to you for free. Checks for clean energy, and here come checks for my workers and checks for my seniors. First, my workers. Checks for workers, independent contractors, checks for unions. And then checks for my seniors. Checks for seniors, lowering eligibility age. Checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing. Now, remember, we don't have the complete bill yet. More about that in a second. Let's cut over to the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. Well, 3 votes have been called on it in the last 7 days. The vote is to advance the bill or to end discussion. The last 2 have passed. What's the breaking news over the weekend? The breaking news over the weekend is that the drafting and finality of writing the bipartisan roads and bridges bill is nearly done. They said that the bill for the roads and bridges would be debuted on Saturday. It clearly wasn't. Now they say it will be debuted either today or late or sometime on Monday. Chuck Schumer says the roads and bridges will be ready for a vote at the early part of this coming week. Yes, now this is great news, but let's cut back to what I talked about yesterday. Yesterday, I was a little bit neurotic of whether someone was trying to get the bipartisan call for a vote before our recon. Well, the great news is it's not happening. The recon is still going first with a vote. Yes. The confirmation comes from Schumer, Pelosi, the president, and Jalopal. First, the president. The president says, don't you dare try to send me the infrastructure, roads and bridges by itself, because I will not sign it. You have to send me both that and the recon together. First, he says that if only one of them comes to me, only one of the 2 paths comes to me, that this is the only one that comes to me, I'm not signing it. It has to come in tandem. Then he says, I'm not just signing the bipartisan and forgetting the rest of what I propose, recon. I propose a significant piece of legislation, and all parts must come to me together. There you go. Then we have the confirmation from Jalopal, Schumer, and also Pelosi. Schumer, I had said yesterday, I was a little concerned he wasn't mentioning the words together. I went back in my notes, or I went also back in the research, and he did say in the middle of the week that the two paths will get to the finish line this week. Excuse me, before the August recess. Great news. So he's referring to the recon path and the bipartisan path. He said both paths will be done by the August recess. He reportedly also said it today as well. Nancy Pelosi had made very clear 3 weeks ago that you cannot send to her in the House the roads and bridges first without the recon, because she'll take the roads and bridges and throw it in the garbage can. As I said, this is a quote from Nancy. As I said before, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have a recon. Plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan unless we have a recon passed by the United States Senate first. Jolipal said the same thing. Remember, Jolipal's in the House where Nancy is. She said she asked her House Democrats, would they ever approve the bipartisan if they don't have the recon? They said categorically no. We did a poll of our members, and the overwhelming majority of our caucus Democrats said that they're not going to vote for the bipartisan unless it comes with a recon. There you go. So that now eases our concerns across the board. Is there anyone who's trying to get the roads and bridges called for vote before the recon? Of course there are. The Republicans. Are they trying to get it done and go home? Absolutely. Do they have any authority to do so? No. Does anyone else, even a Democrat, have authority to do so, like a Kristen Sinema? No. Only two people determine when and what and how things are voted on in the United States Congress. On the House side, her name is Nancy Pelosi. On the Senate side, his name is Chuck Schumer. And in looking back over the notes and looking back over the comments this weekend, Chuck Schumer reassures the American people that the recon is going for a vote first. So why was Chuck talking so much about the bipartisan in the last 2 days that made me a little worried? A viewer had a very insightful remark, and it's very true. This is sort of like reading people's mentalities. This is not actual news right now, what I'm about to say. Is that Chuck understood that the bipartisan was slow, was not getting done. Pick it up. Come on, get it done, get it done. Recon done, but bipartisan not done. Get it done. It was holding everything up. Now he's zoomed it forward, and he's getting it done. So that's clearly what he was doing. He was not forgetting the recon. He was just focusing on the slow one, the bipartisan. All right, now let's cut to the vote and what you need to know about the vote. So the recon, when it's debuted on the Senate side, which is where it's going to start, is debuted on the Senate side, then goes back to the House, then goes to the Senate for a 2-day vote-a-rama, and then the president's table. When we see the recon, we'll have an emoji for this. Not law yet. This is critical because guess what? The people who've been working on writing the recon all these weeks is just a few people. Just a handful of people. How many people are in the Congress that have not had their hands on the recon? Almost all of them. 100 plus Democrats in the House, 50 Democrats in the Senate have not had their hands on it. And what are they saying? I'm ready to modify it. I've not even seen it. I've not had my hands on it. I'm going to modify it. So this is great news for you. When we see the recon with those $3.5 trillion of checks for you, if there's something that is imperfect in there and needs to be modified, they will modify it. And they've actually said they're going to modify it. The House members, Democrats, say, we're going to modify it. And the Senate Democrats as well. Then lastly, that strange twist with a bit of inserting a crypto provision into the roads and bridges. My prediction, and you heard it on Morning's Crypto and Overnight's Crypto today, is that the insertion of a crypto regulation provision into a roads and bridges bill on a Friday evening before you try to call for a vote on Monday or Tuesday is bad hat. And I think that as soon as the broadcast studios reopen this week and they go on air, the financial news networks, to say, hey, did you know there's a crypto regulation being slid into some bill about roads and bridges? No, I think that Republicans that are into crypto and Democrats are going to be into crypto are going to go through the roof. I don't think that was a good move across the board. Finally, a couple personal messages. You've been great. You've been really doing a great job on social media pushing. You need to push. You saw my neuroses yesterday about whether they were trying to put the bipartisan before the recon. You got to be neurotic in these situations. You have to be on top of things. So it's fine to be neurotic, but it's also important to push. You have to push now when we're there's no bill yet. And also you have to push when we have the bill because it's not law yet. Number two, positivity is very, very important. And it's very, very critical to stay positive. There were some comments I saw on the morning show today that were not by members, not by subscribers. And the compounding of the comments were just sort of like being negative to be negative. Someone said first, I can't get money for rent because my state doesn't have money. Then the same person said, I reach out to the volunteers, there's no money. And I can't find the money. It was just compounding negativeness. And then there is always someone who wants to jump into discussion and report on something that's old news that is no longer the news, meaning the news cycle has changed. There was two people who posted something like that in the live chat right now, and I deleted it during the commercial break. For example, posting something about Kristen Sinema that is no longer news, posting something that is about Joe Manchin from third stimulus that's no longer relevant for fourth stimulus. Those type of things don't need to happen. So please restrain yourself in inserting things like your news reporting, because 95% of the time the comment you're posting has already been revised by the person and is no longer their position on the situation. And finally, this week will be a confusing week because as broadcast media continues to butcher the story and refers to our money as infrastructure, refers to RECOD as, budget bill of $500 million. I'm like, wait a second. It's not 500 billion. It's 3.5. They're just messing up the story left and right. If they confuse you, understand they're just doing a very bad job. So I can't help that. Just tune in here. And with that, join me next on Afternoons LA. It's a throwback show at 1 o'clock, and then the new Afternoons LA at 3 o'clock. And subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes. Every like helps. Remember to like the video. It helps in the algorithm ranking. And consider becoming a member so you learn about all this big money that viewers are getting. 30,000, 25,000. It's your day to get this big money as well. Stay informed, stay focused. I'll see you next on Afternoons LA. And stay with LA for more.